You know, there's something profoundly disorienting about this thing we call time. We swim in it like fish in water, utterly dependent on it, yet completely oblivious to its true nature. And here's the cosmic joke: the more you examine time, the more it seems to dissolve in your hands like smoke. I want to talk to you today about one of the most stubborn illusions that consciousness has ever generated, the illusion of time. Not clock time, not the ticking of seconds and minutes, but the deeper architecture of temporal experience itself. Because what if I told you that the flow of time, that sensation of moving from past through present into future, is nothing more than a magnificent hallucination constructed by your nervous system? And before you dismiss this as philosophical wordplay, understand that modern physics, neuroscience, and phenomenology are all converging on something absolutely astonishing. Time, as you experience it, may not exist in the way you think it does. In fact, it might not exist at all outside the theater of consciousness. Let's begin with what physics tells us, because physics has been systematically dismantling our intuitive understanding of time for over a century now. Einstein's relativity revealed that time is not this absolute universal river flowing uniformly for everyone, everywhere. No, time is relative. It bends, it warps, it dilates. Two observers moving at different speeds experience time differently. This isn't speculation, this is measured fact. The astronaut orbiting Earth ages slightly slower than their twin on the ground. Time literally passes at different rates depending on your velocity and gravitational environment. But here's where it gets really interesting. According to Einstein's equations, the same equations that gave us GPS satellites and predicted black holes, past, present, and future all exist simultaneously. Physicists call this the block universe. Imagine a four-dimensional block containing every moment that has ever happened and will ever happen, all existing at once, frozen in an eternal now. As physicist Max Tegmark puts it, you can portray reality as either a three-dimensional space where things happen over time, or as a four-dimensional place where nothing happens, where past, present, and future simply are like different locations on a map. And if the block universe is correct, then change itself is an illusion. There's nothing actually moving or flowing. It's all just there. Think about that for a moment. Every instant of your life, your birth, your first kiss, your last breath, all of these moments exist somewhere in the space-time continuum right now, in the same way that New York and Los Angeles both exist simultaneously, even when you're standing in Chicago. You're not moving through time any more than you're simultaneously occupying every point in space. But wait, you say, I directly experience time flowing. I experience the present moment, right now, and I remember the past, and I anticipate the future. This experience is undeniable, and you're absolutely right. The experience is undeniable. But here's the twist that should make you pause. Neuroscience has discovered that your experience of now is actually a construction, a clever fabrication assembled by your brain from events that already happened a fraction of a second ago. You see, your brain doesn't operate in real time. It can't. Neural processing takes time. Light hits your retina, Chemical signals cascade through layers of neurons. Patterns are recognized, integrated, assembled. By the time you become consciously aware of something, it's already in the past, typically about 200 to 400 milliseconds in the past. Your brain is constantly editing reality, creating a coherent narrative from disjointed sensory input. It's taking visual information that arrives at different speeds, auditory information on different time scales, tactile sensations with varying latencies, and it's weaving them together into what appears to be a seamless, unified present moment. But that present moment, it's a construction. It's a story your brain tells you about what just happened. The neuroscientist David Eagleman describes consciousness as post-dictive. It's always looking backward, interpreting what already occurred and presenting it to you as if it's happening now. The specious present, as philosopher William James called it, is this brief window of conscious experience, typically lasting a few hundred milliseconds to a few seconds, where everything feels like it's happening simultaneously. But even this window is an illusion of continuity imposed on what is actually a series of discrete neural events. Now, this is where my own work becomes relevant and where we can start to see time not as a physical dimension, but as a quality of complexity and novelty. I've proposed what I call novelty theory, the idea that time is not a neutral container, but rather an accelerating process of complexification. Think about the history of the universe. In the beginning, you had pure plasma, an undifferentiated soup of elementary particles. No atoms, no chemistry, no complexity. And time, in a meaningful sense, barely existed because there was nothing changing, nothing novel occurring. Time is only experienced through the events that occur within it. As the universe cooled, you got atoms, then molecules, then chemistry, then life, then complex life, then consciousness, then culture, then technology. Each level of organization represented an increase in novelty, new patterns emerging that had never existed before. And here's what's remarkable. The rate of novelty production is accelerating. More change happens in a decade now than happened in 1,000 years during the medieval period. More change happened in the 20th century than in the previous 10 millennia. The wave of novelty is compressing, accelerating towards some kind of temporal singularity. I maintain that time has this fractal, hierarchical structure where patterns repeat themselves at different scales. The I Ching, that ancient Chinese divination text, maps this structure perfectly when you look at it through the right lens. It's a 64 hexagram system that describes all possible transitions from one state to another, a complete map of novelty distribution through time. What we're experiencing as the flow of time is actually the unfoldment of ever-increasing complexity and novelty. We're being pulled toward what I call the transcendental object at the end of time, an omega point of infinite novelty where all possibilities converge. But here's the deeper question. What is it about consciousness that creates this sensation of temporal flow? Why does the block universe feel like a movie playing forward? The answer seems to be that consciousness itself is a temporal phenomenon. You cannot have consciousness without the dimension of time, because consciousness is precisely the integration of information across temporal intervals. Your mind takes data from the immediate past, combines it with present sensory input, and projects it into the anticipated future. Pretension. This threefold structure of consciousness, past, present, future, is what phenomenologist Edmund Husserl described in exquisite detail. And neuroscience has confirmed this structure corresponds to actual brain functions. Working memory handles the recent past, interference control manages the present, and preparatory set deals with the future. But, and this is crucial, none of these functions require time to actually flow. They only require information to be organized in a temporal sequence. Your brain can process earlier and later without there being any objective flow from one to the other, just as a computer can process the frames of a movie without the movie actually moving. What we call the flow of time is really just consciousness moving its focal point through a static temporal structure like a flashlight beam moving across a painting, illuminating one section after another. The painting doesn't move. The beam moves, and that beam is consciousness. Here's what should really bake your noodle. Consciousness might be the only thing that's genuinely moving. Everything else, matter, energy, space, time, might be completely static, frozen in the eternal architecture of the block universe. The only dynamic element is consciousness itself, moving through this frozen landscape and generating the illusion of change, motion, time. So now we come to the heart of the matter. Why can't you escape the illusion of time? The answer is devastatingly simple. You can't escape it because you are it. Consciousness and time are inseparable. They're two sides of the same phenomenon. To be conscious is to experience temporality. They arise together, they exist together, and they would disappear together. You could no more experience consciousness without time than you could hear without sound or see without light. The temporal structure isn't something imposed on consciousness from outside. It's intrinsic to what consciousness is. When you try to examine time, you're using a temporal instrument to measure a temporal phenomenon. It's like trying to see the back of your own head without a mirror. Even in the most profound mystical experiences, and I've had a few, let me tell you where people report transcending time, entering an eternal present, touching the infinite now. Even these experiences are temporal. They happen, they unfold, they end. The memory of them exists in time. The transformation they produce occurs across time. The neuroscience is clear on this. Altered states of consciousness don't eliminate temporal processing. They modify it. Meditation can slow perceived time by increasing the density of conscious moments. Psychedelics can produce what seem like eternities in the space of seconds by radically accelerating the rate at which the brain processes information. But none of these states actually escape time. They just change your relationship to it. And here's the really unsettling part. Because you're embedded in time, because you're made of temporal experience, you can never get outside it to see what's really going on. You're like a character in a novel trying to understand the book they're in. Every tool you have for understanding thought, perception, memory is itself temporal. So what do you do with this knowledge? If time is an illusion, if the flow of experience is a construction, if the block universe is real and everything that will happen has in some sense already happened, what does this mean for how you live your life? I'll tell you what it means. It means you're participating in one of the most extraordinary phenomena in the universe, the emergence of consciousness capable of questioning its own temporal nature. You're a point of view through which the cosmos observes itself unfolding, or rather observes different slices of its eternal self. The fact that time is an illusion doesn't make it less real within the domain of consciousness. Pain is an illusion too. It's a signal constructed by your nervous system, not an objective property of the universe. But when you stub your toe, the pain is undeniably real to you. Same with time. What this understanding can give you is a different relationship to temporal anxiety, the future worry, the past regret. These are constructions built on the assumption that time is fundamentally real. But if the past and future exist simultaneously with the present in the block universe, if they're all equally real or equally illusory, then the energy you spend anxious about them is energy you could redirect toward the only thing you actually have access to, the contents of consciousness in this constructed moment. And there's something else, something crucial. Even if time is an illusion, even if we're trapped in this temporal perspective, the illusion itself is beautiful, profound, and meaningful. It's through this illusion that love happens, that music unfolds, that stories have power, that transformation occurs. The universe has gone to enormous trouble to generate conscious beings capable of experiencing temporal flow. Billions of years of cosmic evolution, from the Big Bang to neurons firing in your skull right now, all of it conspiring to create this magnificent illusion of time passing, of moments flowing one into another. You'll never escape it, and maybe that's okay. Maybe the point isn't to escape the illusion, but to fully inhabit it, to ride this wave of novelty toward whatever strange attractor lies at the end of history. To recognize it for what it is, a construction, a perspective, a story consciousness tells itself, while simultaneously honoring its reality within the domain of experience. Because here's the ultimate paradox. Knowing that time is an illusion doesn't make it any less necessary for consciousness to exist. They're bound together like two sides of a Mobius strip, endlessly cycling into one another. You can't have one without the other. So embrace the illusion, dive deeper into it, let it carry you forward, or what you experience as forward, toward the ever-increasing complexity and novelty that seems to be the universe's fundamental drive. You are time consciousness looking at itself, marveling at itself, trying to understand itself, and in that self-reflexive loop, in that strange recursion of awareness, watching awareness unfold in time, you are participating in perhaps the most profound mystery in existence. Consciousness experiencing its own temporal nature, forever unable to escape it, forever transfixed by it, forever surfing the wave of an eternal now that feels like it's always moving but perhaps never actually does. That's the illusion. That's the predicament. That's the glory. And you'll never escape it.